My name is Kwaku, and I am from the Asante Kingdom in West Africa. Our people, the Akan, have a long history of bravery and rich culture. We once fought under the leadership of the great Asantewaa, the Queen Mother who stood up against British forces. But when she was exiled to Seychelles, our world changed forever. Many of us were captured and taken away from our homeland, forced into ships that sailed across the ocean. That's how the Akan people came to a place called Jamaica. I was one of the many Akan who made that terrible journey. The British and other European traders captured us and forced us into the transatlantic slave trade. We were packed into ships like cattle, chained together in the darkness of the hull. The journey was long and full of suffering. Many of us died on the way, and those who survived were brought to new lands, places far from home where we did not know the people or the land. Jamaica was one of those places. The British had already established large plantations there, and they needed labor. They brought us to work the sugarcane fields. The heat was harsh and the work was hard. They gave us no rest and treated us like animals. They tried to strip away our identity, even changing our names, but we held onto our culture. Even in the darkest times, we remembered who we were. We, the Akan people, were strong. We spoke our language and practiced our customs in secret. We passed down our traditions through stories, songs, and dance. We named our children after the days of the week, just like we did back home in Asante. Kofi for boys born on Friday, and Aquia for girls born on Wednesday. It was our way of keeping our identity alive, even when everything else was taken from us. Many Akan people in Jamaica became part of the Maroon communities. The Maroons were Africans who had escaped the plantations and formed free, self-sustaining communities in the mountains. These Maroons included people from many African tribes, but the Akan influence was especially strong. Our ancestors shared their skills in farming, herbal medicine, and resistance tactics. They taught others how to fight back against the British, just like Asantewaa had done. Over time, the Akan traditions mixed with the cultures of other African groups and the Taino people who were originally on the island. This blend created what is now known as Jamaican culture. But you can still see the Akan roots today. Many Jamaican names like Kwame and Abena come from our Akan naming tradition. These names remind us of our ancestors and the days they fought to keep their identity. In Jamaica today, you will not find the face of Asantewaa on the currency, but her spirit is alive in the stories and the strength of the people. The Maroons still tell tales of resistance, bravery, and freedom. They pass down the knowledge of herbal medicine, drumming, and dance that our ancestors brought from the Asante Kingdom. The Akan influence is also seen in Jamaica's spiritual practices, like Komina and Obia, which trace back to West African beliefs. So when you hear Jamaicans speaking patois, using Akan names, or practicing traditions that seem familiar, know that these are the echoes of a history that started long, long ago, across the Atlantic in the heart of the Asante Kingdom. Our culture, our language, our strength traveled across the ocean, surviving generations of hardship. Even though the people and the other Akans were scattered, they left a powerful mark on the world. Today, The spirit of the Asante lives on in Jamaica, showing that no matter where you go, our roots and our identity remain strong. The Akan spirit and influence in Jamaica go beyond just names and traditions. It's in the way the people resist, unite, and celebrate their freedom. The Maroons, who formed powerful communities in the mountains, are a living example of this. They were fierce fighters, much like the Asante warriors back home. Many of them were Akan and carried with them the stories of rebellion, like that of Asantewaa's fight against colonial rule. The Maroons fought back against the British using guerrilla tactics they learned from their ancestors. They knew the land well and used it to their advantage. The British, who thought they could control everything, struggled to defeat them. The Maroons' courage and ability to organize their own independent communities are proof of the Akan influence and the spirit of freedom that the Asante people passed down. The Maroons signed treaties with the British in the 18th century, which allowed them to live freely in exchange for stopping their attacks on plantations. They built their villages deep in the mountains, and these places became strongholds of African culture. In these villages, the Akan language and customs blended with those other African peoples and the Tainos. Together, they created a new identity while keeping the core of their heritage alive. The Maroons continued to practice Akan traditions such as storytelling, drumming, and spiritual rituals that linked them to their ancestors. The drum was especially important. In Jamaica, drumming became not just music but a way of communication and a tool for resistance. The Maroons used drums, much like our ancestors in the Asante Kingdom, to send messages and gather people. The Akan influence also shaped Jamaica's spiritual practices. In Maroon communities, the people practiced kumina, a spiritual tradition with roots in the Congo and Akan beliefs. It involved ceremonies with drumming, dancing, and invoking spirits to seek guidance and protection. Obia, another African influenced practice, also has Akan connections. It involves using herbs and spiritual rituals to protect against evil and heal the sick, much like the healers in the Asante Kingdom. These spiritual practices show how the Akan people in Jamaica kept their connection to their ancestors strong even when they were far from home. It wasn't just about survival, it was about maintaining a sense of identity and power. The British tried to stamp out these traditions because they saw the strength they gave to the enslaved and Maroon people. They feared that this cultural identity could lead to rebellion. And they were right. Our ancestors never stopped resisting. There were uprisings on the plantations led by those who remembered their Akan roots and the stories of Asante bravery. The legacy of Asantewaa's fight against colonial rule inspired many to resist, fight for their freedom, and reclaim their identity. Even after the abolition of slavery in Jamaica, the Akan influence remained strong. Freed Africans carried on the traditions of their ancestors and they passed them down through generations. Today, Jamaican culture celebrates this African heritage. The vibrant colors of traditional clothing, the sounds of the drums, and the strength of the Maroon communities all show how deeply the Akan spirit is woven into the island's history. In Jamaican language, you will find words from the Akan languages mixed in with English and other influences. Patois, the language spoken by the Jamaicans today, has elements that come directly from West African languages. is a reminder of how our ancestors adapted, mixing their own tongues with others to create something new yet still connected to their past. When Jamaicans celebrate Emancipation Day and Maroon festivals, they honor the struggles and victories of their African ancestors. They dance to the rhythm of the drum, wear traditional garments that resemble those worn by their ancestors in West Africa, and tell the stories of resistance passed down over centuries. So when you walk through Jamaica and see people proudly wearing the name Kofi, or when you hear the drumbeat in a Maroon village, remember that these are not just Jamaican traditions. They are the heartbeat of the Akan people, echoing across the Atlantic from the Asante Kingdom to the mountains and fields of Jamaica. Even today, the names, stories, and strength of the Asante and the Akan people live on in Jamaica, reminding us that no matter how far from home we may go, our roots can never be forgotten. The spirit of Asantewaa, the resilience of our ancestors, and the unity of our people remain a powerful part of Jamaican identity. It is a living proof that culture, courage, and history travel with us, shaping new generations and keeping our heritage alive.